G'day humans, Chris Stead here. Today we're going to be talking about the Sonos Arc Ultra and a little thing I've discovered about the way it's going to operate. So a couple of days ago I was on a phone call with Chris Davies, the VP of audio. It was actually a Zoom call, taking me through the product, which is unusual for Sonos. Usually they get us in a room somewhere in the city and we get to be hands-on with the products, listen to it well before launch, but not the case with the Sonos Arc Ultra. I assume potentially that they just haven't got stock in time here in Australia, or anywhere in the world by the sound of it. Anyway. So this is a long conversation. I've released a couple of videos now talking about some of the things I learned in that conversation. I encourage you to go check those out. But what I really want to talk about in this video is how the Arc 1 will work with the Arc Ultra. Because as soon as they were talking me through it all, I started thinking to myself, well, this is like, it's a significant upgrade here. There's a lot more going on in this Arc Ultra bar. It's very much a sequel. It's very much a new iteration. It's got a lot of revolutionary tech in it. I encourage you to go look at my Sound Motion video to see what the speakers are doing, what they're doing with the speakers there. But a lot of people have already got an Arc. And for a lot of customers, you're saying, well, do you want to upgrade to the Arc Ultra? Now, the Arc still retails for $14.99 here in Australia, and the Arc Ultra is going to be launching at $17.99, so two expensive products. You certainly don't want them to go to waste if you want to do an upgrade. Now, one of the big things with the Arc is that you can create surrounds by putting a couple of Sonos 100s, or Era 100s or Era 300s in the background. You need two of them, by the way, you can't just have one. So two in the background, pair them up and you can have a surround sound experience. So at the moment, the Arc Ultra and the Arc provide an estimation of a surround sound experience, but you can turn it into a true surround sound experience by putting those speakers at the back, syncing them all together. It works really, really well. You know, it's a great ecosystem and experience to be a part of. So I immediately asked Chris Davies, like, what can we do with the Arc 1? So if we upgrade to an Arc Ultra, if a customer says, I want a Sonos Arc Ultra now, the Sonos Arc is already a 5.1.2 Dolby Atmos surround sound bar. And this new Sonos Arc Ultra steps it up to a 9.1.4. And there's a lot more going on. Again, I've done a video comparing the two soundbars, so go check that out. But straight away I was like, can I just put my original Arc back behind me and make that my surround? You know, it's got the capability to do enough, and when you've got True Play, you've got Quick Tune, and now you've got advanced tuning as well if you've got an iOS device, to help kind of make those two speakers talk together and produce a genuine surround sound landscape. Like, imagine having all those speakers behind you shooting sideways, shooting back at the back of your head, shooting up off the roof, you know, working in sync with the thing that's at the front, doing all that as well. The soundbar would be, I know, it sounds like it'd be pretty awesome. Throw a sub in, hallelujah. But it won't do it. So I specifically asked, and they specifically told me there's no way for the Sonos Arc and the Sonos Arc Ultra to work in unison, at least at launch. Now, I'm adding the at launch thing. I'm assuming that there's possibly a capability of firmware updating that somewhere in the future, but there's definitely no plans for that as it currently stands. They just basically ruled it out as being a concept. So maybe I'm the one who's being a bit too sci-fi here, a bit too outlandish. But yeah, it seems like it would be something you could do. Now, obviously, being the way that Sonos, not obviously, but the way that Sonos ecosystem works, you would think that I would be able to, you should be able to use it, I would say, as just a speaker that you can just kind of sync up as another thing that's in your Sonos ecosystem, making whatever sound you've asked it to, whether that's your TV or whether that's your music or whatever. It's just another speaker that you can add into your ecosystem and it will just deliver sound. But you can't just do that with a home theatre system because it needs to be able to be working in unison, knowing what the other Arc is doing in order to make sure that that sound isn't just bashy from all sides and make no sense. Anyway, so I thought that was a really interesting tidbit, and it's a bit of a bugbear. I think it's going to be a bit of a drama for, well, it's just unfortunate for existing customers that own an Arc that you can't upgrade to the Arc Ultra and then use both of them in the same space. You can obviously move to a different TV, and there's lots of other things you can do with it. It's not like it's going straight onto the rubbish bin, but yeah. So I think a lot of customers will probably end up trying to sell their Arc, get a bit of cash back, and then invest in the Arc Ultra instead. And while we're talking about interesting bits of information, I did specifically ask them about whether or not the TV audio swap feature, which was introduced with the Sonos Ace, which allows you to basically press a button on the side of your Sonos Ace. I've got a full review of the Sonos Ace if you want to go check it out on the channel. And it'll toggle basically whatever experience you're having in your home theater setup, so your Arc or your Arc Ultra, and just convert that straight to the headset. So with the press of a button, basically, you're able to go from a home theater experience that everyone in your house and possibly your neighborhood is listening to something that only you can hear through your Sonos Ace. But unfortunately, that technology is trapped with into the iOS ecosystem at the moment, like TruePlay, and not with Android devices. And when Sonos Ace came out in, I think it was March this year, March 2024, they said, oh look, Android's coming, it's coming, but it hasn't. And to be fair, well, not to be fair, but Sonos has had obviously a lot going on with the app, which has required a lot more work than they probably planned to get it up to where customers wanted it. Again, I've got some videos on that. But I would have thought that knowing that the Sonos Ace Ultra was coming, Arc Ultra was coming, and knowing what data was coming, and knowing that they've got this Ace in the ecosystem and this is one of its key features, I would have really thought that they would have done whatever they needed to do to get the Android compatibility for that up and running in time for launch. So that's a bit frustrating. And I brought this up when I did my Sonos Ace review as well, because they had a long time. They were working on that headset for I think 5 years. It's a long time to just get it working. The feedback from Chris Davies on that was just what you might expect, is that Android devices are just too varied to provide them back with the consistent measurements they need to then be able to fine-tune the equalizer the way that they want to. So iOS users at launch are definitely going to have an advantage, not just with the audio swap, but they also get access to advanced tuning. I'll do a separate video just kind of talking about that because it's quite interesting. He gave me a huge quote on the differences between that and what Android users will get with QuickTune. But advanced tuning basically allows you to do an auto equalization of the audio experience based not on where the speaker itself is, but where you're sitting. So it's obviously a more accurate soundscape that you're going to be provided. Okay, so there you go. There's a bit of a breakdown there on a couple of the curiosities that I was able to come to understand from my time. Spoke to Chris for about 35-40 minutes. And hopefully that's provided you with a little bit more information you can use ahead of your purchase, because we are, the reviewers, not going to be, or the journalists anyway, not going to be getting the soundbar itself until the day after launch here in Australia, which is very unusual and a bit frustrating, but it means that the reviews of the product are going to be delayed a little bit, I suspect worldwide. All right, anyway, it's a beautiful day here. I'm going to go make the most of this beautiful blue sky. Look at that. Not a day to be sitting inside watching TVs. All right, I'm Chris Stead. Make sure you go check out those other videos because I think there's plenty on there that if you're interested in the Sonos Arc Ultra, you're going to get a lot out of it. All right, thanks for watching. I'll check you later.